Everyone, welcome back to Simply EDU, and this is part 2 of my SAT Digital Math section. And in this video, I'm going to do a live walkthrough of a Module 2. This is from Digital Practice Test number 6, the PDF. So if you want, you can go ahead and check that out online. And because I understand that it really helps to see me do the questions in action, this time I'm going to do the full module. And so I'm going to give myself 35 minutes. Let's get started. So the function f is defined by f of x is equal to 8x. So for what value of x does f of x equal to 72? Well, in this case, what this means is that 8x is equal to 72, right? Because f of x is equal to 8x and it's also equal to 72. That means x is just equal to 72 divided by 8, so x is equal to 9. Great. Next. In the figure, two lines intersect at a point. Angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. The measure of angle 1 is 72 degrees. What is the measure of angle 2? So vertical angles just means that they have the same degree measure, right? Or I guess, yeah, same angle measure. So as a result, 1 and 2 are equal. By the way, if we were to make another angle 3 and 4 here, they'd also be vertical angles. And so if 1 is 72, because 2 is vertical to that, it's going to be equal. That means 2 is also 72 degrees. A. Okay. On a street with 7 houses, 2 are blue. If a house from the street is selected at random, what is the probability of selecting a house that is blue? So what you have to do is just the number of outcomes that you want divided by the total number of outcomes. So the number of outcomes that you want are blue houses. How many houses are blue? 2. And then the total outcomes are just the total number of houses. Well, how many houses do we have? 7. That means the probability is 2 over 7. The graph of the function f is shown below, where y is equal to f of x. Which of the following describes f? So as you can see here, the rate of change is just constant across the function. And I mean, it looks like a line. So you know it's linear, right? So it's either A or B. Now between increasing and decreasing, what you'll see is that as we go from left to right, like as the x values increase, the y values are also increasing. So this is going to be an increasing linear function. Question 5. The graph of the function f is shown where y is equal to f of x. What is the y-intercept? So if you remember, the y-intercept is when x is equal to 0. So let's see when x is equal to 0. That's going to be right here at the origin. So now let's just go down, and at the y-axis, not the origin. And so when you go down, you'll see right here at -4. So the y-intercept is going to be 0, -4. B. Great. Question 6. The solution of the given system of equations is x, y. What is the value of y? So here's a pretty typical system of equations. What you're going to see here is that if x is equal to 8 and x plus 3y is equal to 26, we can just substitute 8 for x. So that means I'm going to write 8 plus 3y. Sorry about that. 3y is equal to 26. So if I subtract across the 8, you get 3y is equal to 18. So y is going to be equal to 6. So that's the answer. The amount of Hannah's bill for a food order was $50, and she gave a tip of 20% of the amount of the bill. What is the amount in dollars of the tip Hannah gave? So you just have to find 20% of 50. So I'll get out my calculator here. Of course, you could do this on Desmos or also bring a TI. So I'm going to do 20% of 50. So that's going to be 20 times 50 divided by 100. You also could just do 0.2 times 50. And I'm going to get 10. So the dollar amount is going to be 10. Which expression is equal to what you see right here? So what I'll do is I'll factor this out myself. I can see that all 3 terms have an x cubed in them, like a highest power of at least x cubed. So I'll just factor out an x cubed. And then what remains is going to be 5x squared. And actually from just this, I can go ahead and look at the answer choices. So I'll write down 5x squared here. But let's go ahead and look at the choices now. So this factors out of x to the 4th, but that's not possible because the final term is x cubed. This does exactly as we were going to do. So that's our answer. 8x cubed is not allowed because this final term, well, that would work here, but over here is going to be 5 over 8x squared instead of just 5x squared. And then 6x to the fifth, again, that doesn't work because the final term, 8x cubed, like that's going to be, it's going to become 8 over 6x squared, right? Because it's going to, x to the fifth, you have to factor that out. You have to subtract the powers. That clearly does not happen here, so that's why the answer choice is B. The ratio of the length of the line segment xy to that of zv is 6 to 1. The length of xy is 102. What is the length of zv? So if you recall, if the ratio is 6 to 1 and xy is 102, then you just have to divide, like that means 102 is to the length of zv as 6 is to 1. So I'm just going to do 102 divided by 6 to find the length of zv. So I'll get out my calculator. 102 divided by 6, 17. So zv is going to be 17. Question 10. Which equation has the same solution as the given equation? Well, here I'm just going to divide across to 7. So 2x minus 3 is equal to 9. So A. The function f defined by f of t is equal to 14t plus 9 gives the estimated length in inches of a vine plant t months after Tavon purchased it. Which of the following is the best interpretation of 9 in this context? What you'll see here is that when you substitute 0 for t, 9 is going to be the y-intercept. What that means is that when you had a t of 0, so when there's 0 months passed by, meaning when you just started, when you first bought the plant was 9 inches long. So the answer is going to be D. What is a positive solution to the given equation? So here, again, if you set each of these, so these are factors, right? So if I set each factor equal to 0, I can find all the solutions. If x plus 2 is equal to 0, x is equal to negative 2. That's a negative solution. If x minus 5 is equal to 0, then x is equal to 5. That's a positive solution, so that's our answer. But we can look at the third solution as well. If x plus 9 is equal to 0, then x is equal to negative 9. That's a negative solution. So the answer should be C. Okay. Brian saves 2/5 of the $215 he earns each week from his job. If he continues to save at this rate, how much will he have in 9 weeks? So what we can do here is just find how much does he save each week and then multiply that by 9. So I'm going to do 215 times 2/5. That's 86. That means he saves $86 each week. And now how much is he going to do in 9 weeks? Just multiply by 9. So he saves, in total, $774. A rectangle has an area of 155 square inches. The length of the rectangle is 4 inches less than 7 times the width of the rectangle. What is the width of the rectangle? So what you're going to have to notice here is that like the area formula for the rectangle is going to be length times width. So if the length is going to be 4 less than 7 times, so 7, I'll say W for the width, minus 4, that's our length, and then the width is just going to be W, right? So when you expand this out, this is going to be 7W squared minus 4W, 7W squared minus 4W, and this is equal to 155. Okay. Now, if y'all pulled out Desmos, you could just type this in and see the answer pretty easily. I'll go ahead and do this on my TI. So I'm going to substitute these values in. So 7W squared minus 4W minus 155. And I get a positive solution of 5 inches. Note that there is a negative solution, but what you have to think about is that can you have a negative width? No, right? So that's why the answer is going to be 5. Also, the other solution, you can't type that fully out, right? It's like an irrational number. Now, what is the median of the data set shown above? So this is a situation where having a TI really helps out because you can just type this into the stat part and it'll give it to you. But even if you don't, you could just look at this data set manually, and I'll act as if y'all don't have this, so I'll also look at this. So first, let's see how many terms there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 terms. So the median is going to be the average of the fourth term and the fifth term. Because remember, when there's even amount, you have to take the middle two terms. So if we order these terms, the first term is 4, the second is 4, the third is 4. Actually, you know what? I'll write it out. 4, 4, 4, and then 5, 5, 6, and I'll stop right there because the rest are obviously bigger. So this is the first 5 terms, right? And again, we have 8 total. So the median, is going to be the fourth term and the fifth term. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be 5 plus 5 divided by 2, which is just 5. So the median is going to be 5. A right circular cylinder has a volume of 432 cubic centimeters. The area of the base is 24. What is the height? So for cylinders, the volume is just going to be the base times the height. They gave you the base here as 24, so you just have to do 432 divided by 24. So 432 divided by 24, the answer is 18. So how many distinct real solutions does the given equation have? What you'll see here is that it's x squared is equal to a negative number. That does not have any real solutions. Now I think it should be like 29 if it was positive 841, but unfortunately we don't have that here, right? So as a result, it's 0. Again, because you're saying that a square is equal to a negative number, and to do that you need to have imaginary numbers, which is not real. Line K is defined by 7x plus 1 over 8. Line J is perpendicular to that. What is the slope of line J? So whenever you have perpendicular lines, that means that the slope of them, like if I have line K, then the slope of line J is going to be the negative reciprocal of the slope of line K. Negative reciprocal means that I do negative and then 1 over it. So here, line K slope is 7. That means line J slope has to be the negative reciprocal of 7. So negative 1 over 7, because that's the negative reciprocal. So the answer is going to be B. The table shows the linear relationship between the number of cars on a commuter train and the maximum number of passengers and crew, P, that the train can carry, which represents the linear relationship between C and P. So here it's saying that there's a linear relationship. That means that, now this is also, by the way, a situation where you could plug in the answer choices, but I'll go ahead and just find it, find the actual equation. So we increased by 2 cars from 2 to 5, and the amount of passengers increased by 110. That means that the slope is going to be 55, because it's going to be 110 divided by 2, right? Remember, change in y divided by change in x. And so I'll set up the function like this. I know they didn't write it like this, but we can just move the terms around. So if P is the number of passengers and C is the number of cars, P is going to be equal to 55C, and then you have to factor in the constant. So 3 times 155 is 165, so that means I have to add on 9 to make the equation work. So P is equal to 55C plus 9. This is our y-intercept. Now I need to set up the equation in the way that they wrote it. So I need to do 55C minus P is equal to negative 9. And that looks like answer choice A. If 4 to the 8C is equal to 4 to the 7 and then the cube root of that, what is the value of C? So we can rewrite this right here as 4 to the 7 over 3, and this is equal to 4 to the 8C. This means that 8C is equal to 7 over 3, so C is equal to 7 over 3 divided by 8, so C is equal to, equal to 7 over 24. The solution to the given system of equations is x comma y. What is the value of 6x minus 2? So, okay, this is one where actually they're being kind of sneaky here. You just add up the equations directly. So notice, the reason is that you can see here they have negative 4 times y plus 7, and then positive 4 times y plus 7. So if I just add these together, the y parts are going to cancel out, right? And I'm going to end up with 2 times x, x minus 2 is equal to, again, these cancel out. So it's going to be 117 plus 442. That's going to be 559, right? And then to find 6 times x minus 2, I just have to multiply this times 3. So, multiply this by 3. And this isn't a hard calculation. Let's just pull out the calculator. 559 times 3. It's going to be 1,677. Question 22. In triangle ABC, B is a right angle. The length of side AB is 10 root 37, and the side BC is 24 root 37. What is the length of side AC? Okay, so this is one where you could draw it out. Actually, yeah, I'll go ahead and draw it out. Why not? So you have this situation here, and that's our diagonal. B is the right angle. So let's say that, yeah, A is the short side, and then AB is the short side, and then and then BC is the longer leg. So this is going to be 10 square root 37. Okay, wow. All right. Square root, no, whatever. I'm not even going to write the square root 37. And this is going to be 24 square root 37, right? And the reason I don't need to write the square root 37 is because it really doesn't matter. This is an example of a classic Pythagorean triplet. Now, here they're doing 10, 24, and this side is going to be 26. But this is really just multiplying the typical triplet, 5, 12, 13. You might have seen the triangle where one side length is 5, another is 12, and then the hypotenuse is 13. This is the same triangle, but they're multiplying every side times 2 square root 37. So think about it. Like if this is going to be my 5 side, now multiplied by 2 root 37. So what I end up with? 10 root 37. This is supposed to be 12, but I multiplied it by 2 root 37. So now what do I have? 24 root 37. So as a result, this is supposed to be 13. But instead, when I multiply by 2 root 37, I get 26 root 37. The function f is defined by the given equation. The equation can be rewritten as what you see right here, where p is a constant. Which of the following is closest to the value of p? Okay, so this is going to be this is going to be quite a task. So first, the way I like to do these is that I just get the value and then see what it'll like equal, right? So to make it nice and easy on ourselves, let's say x is equal to 4, right? Then if x is equal to 4, then f of x is equal to 1.84. So now let's plug this over here. So 1.84 is equal to, 1 plus 1 plus p over 100 raised to the 4th power. And if you're wondering how I got this equation, again, I plugged in x is equal to 4, and in the top equation, that means that f of x is going to be equal to 1.84. I substitute that into the bottom, and then I again put x is equal to 4 back in there. So if you have this 4th power here, then just put it up to the fourth root, right? So I'm going to do in my calculator 1.84 to the 1/4 power. That gets me 1.1646, whatever. Now, this 1.16, I'll write that down, is equal to 1 plus this p over 100. Sorry about that. So if I subtract across the 1, then I'm going to get 0.16 is equal to p over 100. Then I multiply over the 100 to get that p is equal to 16. The function f is defined by f of x is equal to a square root x plus b, where a and b are constants. In the xy plane, the graph of y is equal to f of x passes through the point -24, 0, and f of 24 is also less than 0. So which of the following must be true? A should be probably negative, right? Because what you're seeing here is that it passes through the point -24, 0. So if I substitute that in, a -24 for x, then b should also be equal to 24 because the whole function is equal to 0. And the reason that it's not, because remember, if like the whole function is equal to 0 at that point, right? But then you might think, okay, why can't a be equal to 0? The reason that a isn't equal to 0 is because, number one, you wouldn't have a function. But even if you did, like, go back down to here. If they're saying f of 24 is less than 0, if a was equal to 0, then the whole thing would be 0. So that's why a is not 0. Instead, the radical part has to be equal to 0. So if x is equal to -24 and you get 0, that means b has to be equal to positive 24, right? Now, so you know what? I'll write that down here. Now, which of the following must be true? What you'll see is that, again, f of 24 is less than 0. That means that we started off, let's say negative 24, 0 is down here. And then let's say f of 24 is way over here. Like, this is a lower point. So let's, like, we don't know the exact value, but I'm just going to draw a point just to represent where we are, right? What you'll see is that from negative 24 to 24, our function decreased, didn't it? So normally, a square root function is supposed to increase as time goes on, because the square root function is a positive function. But we decreased. What that means is that the a value in front is a negative number. So if a is negative and b is positive 24, then a is obviously less than b. In the xy plane, a circle, how much time do we have? 14 minutes, okay. In the xy plane, a circle with center C has coordinates hk, and then a and b line the circle, a is that, and ACB is the right angle. What is the length of AB? So let's draw this out. Okay, this is my center C, and 102. So, okay, this is the value. This is A. Ooh, oops. Okay, this is going to be A. And ACB is a right angle. So, alright, sorry. Let's say I have this right here. So this is a classic example of Thales theorem, right? So they say that ACB is a right angle. I know my drawing here is horrendous, but they're kind of trying to point out that you have, oof, wow, okay, a triangle here. Okay. Now, well, no, now the difference here is that, oh, sorry, this isn't Thales theorem. My bad. If A and B both line the circle, that means that they both, and C, if A and B both line the circle and C is also part of the triangle, that means that AC and BC are equal. Why are they equal? Because they're both radii. So remember what I said earlier, whenever you have an inscribed figure, look out for radii. So, again, AC and BC are equal, so we just have to find, and they want to find AB. So now we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So first, if we can find what AC is equal to, then AB is just going to be that times the square root of 2. So what is AC? Well, using the Pythagorean theorem, if this is hk and this is h plus 1, k plus square root of 102, then using the Pythagorean theorem, x increased by 1, y increased by the square root of 102. So my total hypotenuse from C to A is going to be the square root of 1 plus 102. So it's going to be the square root of, I'll just say it, the square root of 103. That's the length of AC. So AB is square root of 103 times the square root of 2, so it's going to be the square root of 206. 25 is A. Okay. The scatter plot shows the relationship between two variables, x and y, for data set E. The line of best fit is shown, and data set F is multiplying the y coordinate of each data set, each point from set E by 3.9. Which of the following is an equation of the line of best fit for data set F? So there's two. So first we can kind of figure out what the equation is for this line, and then multiply that by 3.9. But guess what? We don't even have to do that. Always, whenever you have these situations, they try to trick you by having the line equation for the given thing as one of the answer choices. And that's what D is. Yeah. So if you can see here, right, this starts at approximately, the y-intercept is approximately 12. So, and then the slope is going to be around 1.5. You can see, again, we increased by approximately 8 units as the x increased to 12, y increased by 8, right? So, yeah. And then, oh, my bad, sorry. It's 30 to 12. That's actually going to be 18. And then that's as x increased by 12. So 18 divided by 12 is 1.5. So our slope is 1.5. So this is the equation for this line. Now we have to multiply this whole equation by 3.9. Why the whole equation? Because if I multiply everything by 3.9, this point, which is at 12, is now going to go all the way up there to 46.8. And then this slope which is 1.5, now the function is going to be increasing a lot more because we multiplied by 3.9. So the slope similarly is going to be multiplied by 3.9. So it's going to be 12 times 3.9, 1.5 times 3.9, so the answer is going to be A, 46.8 plus 5.9x. Then we have question 27. In the given system of equations, r is a constant. If the system has no solution, what is the value of r? So as you can see here, no solution, right? So what that means is that you have to have the same slope but then a different constant, because really what they want you to get is a parallel lines, because in this parallel lines they're never going to intersect, so you have no solution. So let's get that here. Let's move around some terms. So up here you have, okay, let's 64y plus 48, so 112y is equal to 48x minus 24. And here, again, I'll move around some terms. So I'll get 12x minus 1/8 is equal to negative r y. So what you can see is that if I just multiply this equation by 4, my x is going to be the same, and that's kind of how you're going to get this parallel thing. You want the equations to look the exact same except the constant, because when the constant is different but the slope is the same, that's when you're going to have these parallel lines. So 12 times 4 is 48, so that means negative r times 4 is equal to 112. That means I just do 112 divided by 4, so 28, but 28 is equal to negative r. Keep that in mind, that's negative r. So it means positive r is going to be, the value of r is going to be negative 28. And that is it for this video. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you have any questions, just maybe leave them down below in the comments or message me on Instagram and I'll be sure to answer, maybe even give you a video solution to that. Thank you so much and good luck on your test.